Hello, this is Jeremy with Dreadnaught, and well, we had some problems scheduling. We couldn't get everybody together. I wanted to shoot an episode this week. There's some stuff going on in the news I want to talk about, but we've had some scheduling conflicts, so I just decided to jump in front of the camera and just give my opinions on them. First thing I want to talk about, I'm a 35-year-old man in Daytona Beach, Florida. Walked in on a Raymond Frolander molesting his child, and he beat Raymond to shit. Holy fuck, this dude is unrecognizable. But it's an understandable thing to do. To actually walk in on someone doing that, that's craziness. Even just hearing about it afterwards, I don't even know what I'd do, but I bet you one thing, Raymond's probably never going to touch another kid like that again. Because Raymond wasn't hiding it. Whenever the cops questioned Raymond about it, he said, I'm guilty, I'm guilty. And crazy thing is, the father he called, and this is a direct quote from the 911 call. I walked in on a man molesting, and I've got him in a bloody puddle for you, officer. That was the dad after beating Raymond for what he had done. But yeah, and come to find out, Raymond had been molesting the child for about 3 years, unfortunately. But yeah, he said he wasn't. He was guilty. He admitted to everything. He was charged with sexual assault. The boy was 11 and Frolander was 18. One cool thing in the story was the dad didn't get charged, which that's kind of awesome. Because I could easily see how that could turn into something crazy too. But if someone does that to your kids, you kind of have the right. I mean, they're attacking your kid, so you have the right to do something like that. Because that innocence, the way that society looks at sex and other things, and just how someone wouldn't be able to talk about that from fear of how society would view them, it really wreaks havoc on the child's self-image and just how they see themselves. And once you take that innocence away, the child can never get it back. Yeah, speaking of children, there was this Chinese couple that sold their kids so they could get some money for video games. Crazy that human life has come to, like, it's this worthless. There's so much of it that we really don't care. I mean, you can look on the internet and you can even find pictures of people. It was a busy street in China, and this baby somehow got in the road and it was run over, and people didn't bat an eyebrow. I mean, the parent was freaking out, but everyone else, like, nothing happened. I mean, some of the tapes from some of the big cities in China, just the traffic, it's craziness. But yeah, if you want population this big and to produce that much stuff, I guess you got to have that many people. It's kind of crazy how we're like this like ant farm or a beehive. We're a lot of worker bees, and we're building towards something. We can't really see what it is yet because we're looking from the inside out. But maybe one day we'll be able to look at it from something else. Yeah, the human life is just not valued nearly as much as it should be or has been. Another thing, speaking of human life, the one man who does think it has value was this a pastor. He was 79 years old. His name was Charles Moore. Yeah, he was retired. And this pastor set himself on fire because he said he wanted to give back for what had happened to the African Americans in his community with such things as lynching and all this other stuff. He committed suicide this way by setting himself on fire, and he left a suicide note. But that's a guy who truly believes what he's saying. Like, if I'm going to go watch someone talk about their beliefs, and I'd watch that guy talk. He obviously believes in what he was saying. No one's that dedicated. Well, it turns out the retired pastor was a pastor of a United Methodist church, and well, he drove to a strip mall and he set himself on fire. He poured gasoline on himself and set himself on fire. They say that people tried to help him. There was a guy that supposedly ran up even with a fire extinguisher. Man, the guy's trying to prove a point with his life, and then you're coming to, what if that guy would have succeeded and he would have lived but had been severely burned And you know, all that for nothing. And that guy, leave the guy alone. Let him do it. Once you're that far gone, you know, he did it himself. And you, anyway, man on a mission, had to do what he had to do. And he left a suicide note on his car. And he detailed these stories about some guy named Uncle Billy in Pole Town. It's pretty gruesome stuff. That used to happen in his hometown where he set himself on fire. On the plus side, there are some happier things in the news. There was a report of a double amputee veteran from the Vietnam War whose wheelchair broke in Lowe's, and the workers stopped and actually fixed the guy up and got him on his way. That's kind of cool. Also, there were some 10,000-year-old cave paintings that they found in India of aliens and other things. Something to think about, you know. Been talking about people from the sky for a long time now. Anyway, I just wanted, like I said, just to get something at you. Hit us up, Facebook, Twitter. We have a website, dreadnaughtlegion.com.